All right, Kyle Long is here to break down Super Bowl 60, Seahawks, Patriots. Kyle, we've gotten so accustomed to, the Tom Brady's, the Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl that this matchup seems a little bit lackluster to a lot of fans. What would you say to that?
I would say there's so many storylines at play in this football game. And I know that even though the game, and this sounds so weird to say, this game lacks like star power. Mm-hmm. The people know Drake May, the people know Sam Darnold. But I feel like there are a number of other teams in the National Football League that have Madden cover style players that people would be like, oh, these are these are the two best football teams going right now. And obviously the New England Patriots had to go and beat the Denver Broncos, a Bo Nix-less Denver Broncos, and we were there last week. They had to win in a blizzard. They had to beat like the number one defense in the Houston Texans. They got a second-year quarterback who is taking a team with a brand new head coach that was 4-win team last year, 4-win team 2 years ago. This is the ultimate flip the script. This is like basement to the penthouse with the New England Patriots. Seattle Seahawks, John Schneider's crew, the GM of the Seattle Seahawks, he's gotten this thing done a number of ways. Remember back to Russell Wilson's departure, the trade, then they got Geno Smith out of there. Then they make the decision to bring Sam Darnold on, who our guy Pete Prisco calls a pumpkin every single week. That's a ballsy move there by Schneider. He drafts Gray Zabel, brings in a number of guys, Cooper Kupp being one of them, that people like myself wrote Cooper Kupp off. Right. I said, he's been too banged up. He's, over the hill. He's on the back nine, as it were. Not the case. He's been a great support player for the absolute phenom in Jackson Smith and Jigba. The defense for the Seattle Seahawks suffocates teams every single week. I got to see the New England Patriots in person last week. I saw Mike Vrabel walking down the tunnel after talking to his team at the half. That's a team that's focused. That's a team that believes in their leader, and Mike Vrabel. Yes, they have a great quarterback in Drake May, but it starts with leadership on both sides. McDonald in Seattle, Vrabel in New England. It's the Mike and Mike show. I just realized it's the Mike and Mike show in the Super Bowl. Look, if you love football, if you love the line of scrimmage, you're going to really enjoy this game. Now, I think that's where it's going to be won or lost. The New England Patriots' ability to protect their young quarterback, Drake May. I saw a number of creative ways that the Patriots got Drake May protected last week, Chris. Some cut blocks. So for those of you at home that don't know, if you see offensive linemen get out of their stance and cut immediately, that's to protect guys so coaches don't feel extremely confident in the matchup up front. So they say, how can we get the ball out of our quarterback's hand quickly? How can we negate the rushers immediately? Cut blocks, cut protection. A lot of that against the Denver Broncos last week. I expect quick game to be a huge part of this Seattle game. So nosy defense trying to take away some of these underneath throws that Drake May's getting out of his hand. I see that being a big part. 29 carries for the New England Patriots in the second half. 29 carries. If you told me before the game they were going to have 29 carries in total, I would say that's a great plan. That's winning football. They did that in the second half in a blizzard. Speaks volumes about this team. It's strength against strength with Seattle and New England, Chris.
Why do you think that the New England defense might be the unit that decides this game?
Well, I think they're the unsung unit, right? I mean, everybody and their mama wants to talk about Drake, May, right? Nobody has been like this deep. I mean, people that really watch it go, Dan, they've got a good defense. And they've kind of outshined some of the higher-ranked defenses that they went up against in the playoffs. I just think that if they can get after Sam Darnold, if they can find a way, like they have time after time, to put pressure on quarterbacks, it's going to be a long day for both offenses.
Sam Darnold has an opportunity to do something that not many quarterbacks have done. I mean, he was a failure. When he was the same age as Drake May is right now, 23, he was labeled as a failure. He was being traded away by the Jets to the Carolina Panthers.
The Jets. Not all. You're right.
But he didn't succeed with
Carolina. But Baker Mayfield
either.
Was in the same quarterback room as him. So this is, I'm not. He wasn't a failure. Situations are really, really, really important in the National Football League.
Clearly, and this is proving it. Now, if he goes in and he gets this done and he wins a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks, how much do you think that could change things moving forward with franchises maybe not moving past their young quarterbacks before the second contract?
Well, I think you know really early on in the development of a young quarterback whether or not you have the capacities or the facilities in terms of a coaching staff or a voice that needs to be in a young player's head. You either have it or you don't. And if you have the confidence in your building that you've got a guy that can shepherd a young quarterback to a great place, a la Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, Josh McCown during his time with Sam Darnold in Minnesota, then yeah, go ahead. Feel more confident about it because you can groom these guys and get them ready to roll. Bring out the best in them. But I just think it's a total team effort in Seattle. I mean, not every team that's trying to inherit 50-50 quarterback has a defense or a culture like the Seattle Seahawks. You got to think about they have won every single year. They just kicked it into a higher gear this year with Sam Darnold.
There's also this narrative out there, and for the most part, it's true that the Patriots have had an easy path to get here. Easy is relative. I mean, on paper, they had the easiest schedule in NFL history based on the previous season's win percentage, and then maybe a couple breaks in the postseason like you don't see Bo Nix.
Don't see Bo Nix, and you see a guy in C.J. Stroud who, for a lack of a better phrase, is seeing ghosts a
yes,
little bit.
But now you've got Seattle, clearly the best team that they have faced. How do you think they will respond to seeing that team on the other side, a team of that caliber for the first time this season?
I think it starts with leadership. And Mike Vrabel is, for a lack of a better term, a gangster. And he played the football game the game of football the way it was supposed to be played. The amount of respect that they have for their leader in the locker room in New England is incomparable league-wide. I think that they will go to battle with this guy any day of the week, and it's evidenced in the way that team responded in the second half last week against Denver.
We don't have very many holdovers from the matchup 11 years ago. I mean, players throw that out the window, but we do have, you mentioned him, John Schneider, the GM of Seattle. He was the GM of Seattle when they had Russell Wilson and the Legion of Boom. How did he make these moves to put this team in this position pretty much behind the scenes and unnoticed by many of us in the media, because no one was picking Seattle to win the Super Bowl?
I just really feel like when I heard about all the moves they were making offensively, you know, bringing Kubiak in, bringing in Cooper Kupp, getting rid of DK Metcalf, in my opinion, who was an absolute stud out there on the outside. You can build an offense around that type of receiver. I thought they had a bunch of tweeners at the receiver position. Kubiak proved his brilliance. Schneider proved me wrong. Gray Zabel and all these guys they've brought in to play football for the Seattle Seahawks have been awesome all year. And I think you hit on a guy like Tank Lawrence defensively, who spent 9-10 years in Dallas, was banged up at the end of his tenure as a Cowboy. He gets some fresh oxygen in Seattle. You get the best out of these guys. Tank Lawrence, Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp. The list goes on.
And this is what makes the NFL different from most any other professional sport, is the parity and the ability to turn things around. It's the first Super Bowl matchup ever between quarterbacks and head coaches in their first or second season with that team. It's the same matchup as 11 years ago, but for the most part, completely new blood here with the Seahawks and Patriots in Super Bowl 60.